Ready, Dave?
So the next song we're going to talk about is the Big Whoredom.
Come on, baby, turn that frown upside down. Tell me why you ain't been around. What is it brings you down?
We work the hardest to be the smartest. 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 And the big whoredom scared me. No,
Big Big Whoredom. The Big Whoredom. This is a song you have a lot to say about, I'm assuming.
Well, we had a little disagreement about this song years ago.
Uh-oh. What?
Do you not remember?
No.
Just on what the song meant?
I disagree so much with people in my life that it's all a blur.
Well,
oh yeah, I know. Okay, well here we go. Let's talk about this. So
let's fucking get into it.
So it's funny because
I still maintain my position.
It's funny because I didn't remember this. And by the way, I'll say right now, I think Dave's right. But
yes.
I think I
yes.
I think I have a few points. So on TMBW, I actually typed in on the interpretations page what I thought. So this is very old because it has my old website address there. I should just edit it and put the new one. This is what I say on the TMBW, and I'll paraphrase. I assume this is a relationship song. He can't commit, and he's breaking up with the girl, but doing it in that awful way where he's pretending it's not so bad. I think, what do you think just happened to me when I wrote this? And I say, come on, baby, turn that frown upside down. He's calling her baby, so this probably is a relationship song. We work the hardest to be the smartest, and I say, that's very relatable. You always think you'll be smarter than other couples, not fight, not fall into the same traps, but you still can't stay together.
That's true.
Then I say, I'm not sure what the Big Whoredom is. I think I thought it was her cheating on him, or maybe him cheating on her, right?
Yeah, maybe he's a whore.
Or yeah, exactly. But it scares him. The idea, you're paranoid about someone cheating on you is scary. Yeah. And then it ain't so bad as you paint it. There's plenty more heads of hair for us out there. That's saying there's plenty more fish in the sea. Mm-hmm. So this is very like relationship-y to me. And then at the end of the song, he's going, no, please stop. Or maybe it's the other person, because it is like other vocals kind of throughout the song. And you're, no, please stop, don't. And it's very sad. Very sad song. So I always thought the song was about a relationship falling apart. Everyone else, including Dave, seems to think it's about what, Dave?
It's about work.
Work.
I mean, I think your theory is... Your analysis is good if you ignore a lot of other lyrics.
They go on.
And there could
go on.
There could be a dovetail in between both of these, because I think what you do for a living, where you work, how much money you make does affect your relationship. So I'm not going to dismiss what you said.
Well, people think this is a song about selling out. Yeah. So, but that's what you mean by work?
Yeah. Okay. What you do for a living, selling out, and whether or not you can compromise if your job is creatively satisfying or not.
Let's try to figure this out together. We're gonna talk it out. The internet doesn't want us to talk like human beings. They want us to fight, but we want to talk.
Yeah, let's talk. I wouldn't discount your analysis of it, though, because I think what you do for a living and money and all these issues affect relationships a lot. So I think they're intertwined. But I think the crux of the song is about someone being worried that they're not living their dreams, being creatively satisfied.
Interesting. Well, so do you want to take me through it a little? There's a lot to talk about with this song, by the way. But
the Big Whoredom, just in general, like whoring out your skills. Whoring out for the man.
They call it sex worker now, Dave.
Making money, just doing whatever. Because there's so many references to work and a job in there. That's why, you can't ignore that it says we work the hardest to be the smartest, and then it's saying we work, and we'll strike it rich.
I don't know. It seems like such a personal song. I mean, do you think it's like an imaginary Linnell talking to an imaginary Flansburgh or something? Or do you think it's someone talking to, maybe do you think they're calling someone baby because they're like a hotshot record exec or something? Like, is that what you're saying?
Well, no, I think it could still be applied to a relationship. I mean, I've had these kinds of conversations with my wife where it's like, no, it'll be okay. Like, I'm going to pursue art. We'll be fine. I'm not going to be a doctor or whatever. Well, I wouldn't be anyway. I'm not smart enough.
I'm not going going to be a doctor because I don't feel like it.
Yeah. But yeah, that part of, I don't know, coupling with someone and the disappointment and the struggle that goes along with making those decisions. So I don't think it's just a song about selling out. I think it's a song about selling out when you have someone else relying on you as well.
I had the little light bulb switch, like our logo.
Hey, speaking of art,
mine finally
wasn't that a great logo? I made that.
Mine turned on just now. So you're saying, I see what you're saying. It is both.
Just imagine it's me and my wife talking.
It's relationship, and it's also saying like. It's like, what is it brings you down, and what brings her down? Let's say it's a her. Is that we don't have money, and you should consider selling your soul to make a better job. And then he's like, well, the Big Big Whoredom scares me.
Exactly.
No, babe, I ain't convinced. It ain't so bad as you painted. There's plenty more heads of hair for us out there.
Let's strike it rich. A monster switch. Let's strike it rich. A monster switch. Strike it rich. A monster switch. Strike it rich. Monster switch.
I want to talk about this line. We'll strike it rich, a monster switch, and I have something very exciting to show Dave.
Is it a monster switch?
Here it is. It's attached to my wall. So remember I talked about those flyers that They Might Be Giants sent to some fans who wanted them, like me. Look at this flyer. It's an ad for a bunch of They Might Be Giant shows for this week in May. I would assume this is 85. And the tagline on the flyer, a monster switch for the weary.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. I was shocked to see this. I stopped the presses. I ran into traffic, tore off all my clothes, like Martin Lawrence did in the 90s or whatever. So this is a flyer. There's 4 shows. They're at different venues, Dorinka, 8BC, all those places we talk about, in the early days. It has a picture of them with the big hands,
right,
which is on their demo tape from 85. And it says, yes, it's out. They Might Be Giants swing into 2 songs on their debut flexi disc. And then it lists a few record stores that the flexi disc is at.
Do you think that's the monster switch, though?
Yeah, so then it says, under that, it says, a monster switch for the weary. Does this shed light on the lyric or make it more hard to understand?
It sheds light in that it's something that was rattling around in someone's brain.
Yeah.
I don't think it puts it in any more clear context.
A monster switch for the weary. I've been staring at this flyer.
Yeah. I always saw a monster switch as just like a big change.
A big change. That's what I saw too.
Like, we're going to be on Easy Street now once everybody realizes my art is so great or whatever.
And it's not just that it's a big change, but it's kind of a very, very typical of their lyrics. It's using the word monster evokes that it's like a scary change.
Yeah, sure.
It evokes that it's maybe aggressive or that it's uncontrollable, like a monster would be.
Yeah. Or just misunderstood, Jordan.
Yeah. But so, a monster. I'm going to say it again because this is a monster switch for the weary. So I guess the flyer is saying, oh, you're bored at home. You don't know what to do. How about a monster switch for the weary?
Right. It's a little different.
Come see our fun shows. It is different context, but it is interesting to me that this was, and I think this would be when they were playing that song live. Yeah. In terms of selling out, what I wanted to do was touch on the idea of They Might Be Giants selling out just a little. A lot of these, then the earlier bonus tracks kind of go in this weird direction of them being like proud of who they are.
Yeah.
Mainstream USA. One could, describe that for a few songs, maybe. Now that I have everything, we talked about that. So the idea of them selling out and them in this weird, like they must have felt some buzz from like record executive people at this time, 85, 86. They must have felt like it was a scary possibility, right? Like we've all had these moments in our life when we're like, whoa, I might be able to do this thing that might not be good. Should I do it? You know what I mean?
I think you should always go for it.
Pull that monster switch.
Yeah, why not? You got one life, folks.
Yeah, make mistakes and bake a cake.
And bake a mistake into a cake.
The end. So...
What happened? I blacked out.
That's a line from one of mine. Were you referencing my song?
Yeah, it's always about you.
I have a song where I say, look at that mistake you made on the cake.
Oh, yeah. No, I wasn't referencing you.
You'll have to tune into my podcast where I analyze my own songs for 3 hours. So, yeah, them selling out seems to be a thing. And also just their place in the music business. What record executives thought of them. I know they said record executives at the time at Restless, their like indie label, thought Dial a Song was a bad idea.
I mean, I had multiple conversations with people at record companies and even not just major label companies, but even indie label companies who are like, why are you giving away the thing that you'd want to be selling? So to a lot of people, there was a lot of like sort of, what is the term? Cognitive dissonance. Like the way I thought about it is like, nobody knows who we are. Our songs are definitely not on the radio. Like we don't, this is about the most like low stakes gambit you could be involved in. But for like people who are like in the business of selling music, they're just like, you guys just look pathetic. Like you're doing this thing that makes you look like your music isn't worth anything.
And part of that was because it's like, why would you give away free music? We're trying to sell your music. And it's like you could see that example, but they're also, it's like they're not seeing the forest for the trees. It's like,
well, except that's exactly what everybody does now anyway.
Yeah, true.
Which is really weird.
That's a whole other thing. True. But yeah, just the idea that like it's not about the money. It's about building an audience. And then at the end, you've really got this interaction of the two vocals.
Weird horns.
Yeah, the horns we'll talk about that. But yeah, it's one thing I like.
Giving up horns, we call them.
Kind of reminds me, the horn, we'll just talk about it now.
Yeah.
That it's like a limp.
Yeah.
It's like a limp.
It's a limp dick.
It's a limp trumpet, kind of pathetically,
Please stop it.
Big Big Whoredom scares me.
Don't.
Big Big Whoredom scares me.
Please.
Big Big Whoredom scares me.
No.
Big Big Whoredom scares me. The Big Big Whoredom scares me. The Big Big Whoredom scares me.
And it kind of reminds me like the guitar solo in Hearing Aid, or
right, yeah.
Those kind of like
Half-hearted.
pathetic, like we're all slowly dying kind of instrument solos. So that definitely fits. And yeah, so it's like the vocals are interesting because they're like double tracked Linnells, but there's no effort at all to make them on top of each other, a line up on top. It's supposed to be a big mess, right? And to me, like that kind of implies like a state of mind, for the narrator in the song, and how your state of mind when you're hearing it, it's just all, it's like a lot of inner thoughts that are on top of each other, right?
To your credit, I'm not quite sure how Plenty More Heads of Hair. That's kind of the only line that doesn't line up with what I'm interpreting with the song, unless it is just like you could get another boss. You could get another big client that'll give you some work for your art or music
or it could be
it
could be an audience. There's plenty more. Oh my God, fuck, light bulb moment.
Wow, two.
Saying there's plenty more heads of hair. What does it look like when you're on stage and you're playing to a crowd? To Linnell,
it depends how high up you are.
It probably looks like a bunch of heads of hair facing you. Do you see? Okay, I think this convinced me.
Yeah.
This is
that
one,
I'm right.
Well, and you and a few other fans. I mean, so I always saw there's plenty more heads of hair as like Linnell just almost
other
like
women, other fish in the sea.
Yeah, but almost taking that phrase and making it more alien and more like how he sees people.
Different heads of hair.
Yeah, and he has the song like I am a human hair or whatever. What is it? I am a human head. I am a human head. It's like this weird consistent thing with him where he sees people as these like weird, like nothing's going to change my clothes. These like sacks. Yeah.
Sacks of organs.
Sacks of organs and hair on top and, a furry hat, like saying your hair is a furry hat is just like, what planet is Linnell from? So I always saw it as that, but being literal with it, that he's talking about, we might lose our audience, our core TMBG cult audience in the East Village, but there's plenty more heads of hair if we sell out and we play songs about, hey, we're going to have a fun time tonight kind of songs.
Well, it could be that, or it could just be he's confident that he'll find an audience being weird.
Well, there's a lot of different ways of looking at it, and I think that, luckily for me, I still feel like we were extremely lucky in the early 90s to have the success we had. I think that we did okay, and obviously we could, at this moment, be whoever it is, fill in the blank, that is in everyone's face all the time. But, I think we started out with the idea that seemed very unlikely, that with what we wanted to do, was probably not going to be for absolutely everyone in the world, and that in fact the bands that often are that popular are not actually really beloved by anybody, that they're just sort of tolerated by the sum total of everyone who buys records. And we have a very loyal and good following. They've stuck with us,
Yes. What do you think the argument is that he's saying? What is it brings you down? Yeah, I guess it's hard to tell which side he's on.
I think it's just, the typical argument. I'm just bringing it back to what I know.
No, I see your point. Yeah, we don't know that he's advocating for a monster switch. Someone will strike it rich, a monster switch.
Well, look, this goes with the whole theme of a lot of what we've been talking about. It's hard to go off and have that confidence and say, like, look, I'm going to bring this weird thing to the world. Everyone is going to latch onto it. Because the reality is it might be a big failure, but, you got to take those chances. And folks, isn't it great that they did?
No, yeah. So this is a consistent
Help
thing.
me out here.
Yeah, I agree. So let's just talk about the music a little more. This is John Linnell playing guitar.
Yeah.
And Dave, do you know what he's playing here? I'll just he's basically playing nothing. So I'm holding a guitar and he's basically
sounds like. Yeah.
This is an open guitar. There's no finger being pushed down.
It's great.
And Dave, while we're on the subject of how easy it is to play on guitar, this is one of the first songs I ever learned. And here is a recording
Here we
of
go.
Little Jordan doing the Big Big...
Little Jordan, age 32.
Doing the Big Big Whoredom to his loyal fans.
Big Big Whoredom, Jordan on guitar, coming up. Come on, baby, turn that frown upside down. Tell me why you ain't been around. What is it brings you down? Work the hardest to be the smartest. 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 But the Big Big Whoredom scared me.
So the context of that is I was doing like a little live stream with people listening from this old TMBG chat.
Oh, okay.
And I was taking song requests. That's what some of these clips are from.
Live streaming was around back then?
Yeah.
You were really on the cutting edge of this.
I was like
stuff.
Joe Rogan. So I always loved Big Big Whoredom. Let's talk about just where it ranks for you. What do you make of this song as a listener?
I mean, it resonates a lot with me, lyrically mostly, and yeah, even musically, just the feeling that it gives you. It's obviously not going to be a single.
Yeah.
Or maybe not, obviously. Who am I to judge?
It always reminded me of early Beck. Do you ever hear early Beck? It's
Not
like
much,
very
but-
much sounds like that.
Okay.
It's like weird folk. It's very strange, scary folk.
Well, I like that quality of it. I mean, some Violent Femmes is like that too, so...
Another thing that's interesting is then this song gets mentioned in Nightgown of the Sullen Moon.
Yeah.
We should just talk about that a little bit because we already talked about it in our Miscellaneous Tea episodes.
Yeah.
Everyone listen to those. If you haven't heard those, go back, stop, turn around, put your left foot out, do a little dance, do a samba, and listen to those because did you like those episodes? I was really proud of those.
I don't remember them.
So Nightgown of the Sullen Moon says I
don't look back, Jordan. That's the rear view mirror, baby. Turn that frown upside down.
In Nightgown of the Sullen Moon, he mentions there's a feeling of boredom of the Big Whoredom. Mm-hmm. And this is the Big Big Whoredom. So you think the Big Whoredom is boring, but the Big Big Whoredom is...
That's where it's at.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where the scene's happening.
The only thing I really wanted to say for this is the idea that sort of like with the Monster Switch being on the flyer, it's like they're creating these phrases and they're creating characters and things that kind of keep coming back, and we try to trace all those on the show.
Kind of like how we wanted the phrase, there's a logic to our flogic to take off, right?
Yes, well, you did. I would graciously accept it, but I'm gonna lose sleep over it. But
I have been, yeah.
Come on, someone, make a T-shirt.
I think that's how I got shingles. I was so stressed out about that, making it.
Yeah. I was saying I should make a YouTube channel. What I'd really prefer is if we had a fan that did it and put clips themselves so I don't have to do it.
Someone else could just be in the seat. Just think my thoughts and say them.
Yeah. In fact, why can't someone else do the show? So, but the idea of them having these phrases that would come back and these characters, and I find that very endearing. And the idea that there's these reoccurring things and there's these things you can only hear at a They Might Be Giant show.
Because when you just hear one song, I don't think you can really get an idea of the depth and the diversity to They Might Be Giants?
Oh, I think that's for a long time that was something that we were really trying to promote, is this sort of idea of like They Might Be Giants kind of being its own musical universe. There's a band, The Residents, that we were very influenced by, and one of the things about the Residents were, very distinct band, but there was a quality to what they did that really felt like you were in their world when you listened to their albums.
The thing is, to be original, and I think about this a lot, actually, Dave knows, I'm not a huge fan of, reference-y stuff. Not that it can't work. There's certain, let's say you're watching a comedy or whatever, and they make a reference to a TV show, and you go, oh, haha. That can be funny. Sometimes it hits the nail on the head, and it really works. I like when things just create their own thing. What I appreciate about They Might Be Giants, while there are kind of weird references to older songs and stuff like Tambo, Urine Man, and all that, a lot of this just feels so out of left field, and I like that about They Might Be Giants.
To take your baseball analogy, since we're such sports guys, they do swing for the fences, I think.
Okay.
Is the term, right?
Exactly.
When they're trying to really have something take off, they go for it.
Yeah.
And it may be genius, it may be completely confusing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think when it's confusing, to me, that is when it's genius.
That is genius, right.
Yeah.
No, and there's an overlap there, too. You got to do your own thing in this world, everybody. So, all you people out there listening right now, you're all stars.
And you think you should be scared by the Big Big Whoredom because that's going to bring you nothing but unhappiness. And
I don't think you should be scared to do anything. I think you should do it. It probably can bring you a lot of those things, but, everything ends eventually, right? My point being is even if the end point is you end up failing at what you tried, the worst thing to do is to say I wish I would have tried that thing.
Oh no, yeah, but I don't think he's scared by the Big Big Whoredom out of it's because he's something he should do. I think,
but his partner is, or there's a hesitation somewhere in this narrative.
Something is wrong. Yeah, right. Something needs to be figured out.
That's what I'm saying. You got to go for it.
We know that at least.
Bad things can happen. Look, bad things can happen even if you get everything you want. So.
This is true.
Why ask why?
Now that I have everything.
Try Bud Dry.
The only thing I want to say before we move on, there is a live version that's extremely different. Mm-hmm. I would like to save that for a future episode that I've been thinking about. So I don't want to...
Hey.
I'm not trying
your world, baby. I'm
not trying to not be completist, but there's a certain thing I'm going for here.
There's a logic to your flogic.
There's a logic to my flogic. So hold on tight and get ready for that some other time. Okay.
I never know what you find when you open up your letterbox.
Mark wrote in and said there was at one time a location in Boston called Mount Whoredom.
Whoa!
Which was essentially a mountain of prostitutes.
Whoa!
Now, you think it was a mountain made up of prostitutes? In a mountain shape?
Like a Lovecraftian monster?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or we can assume just a mountain that prostitutes resided on, which has since been leveled. Hopefully the ladies made it off the mountain first.
That's what Mark says.
And yes, his joke. And is now one of the fanciest parts of Boston.
Okay, so let's back up a bit. So Mark is supposing that they got the phrase whoredom from a place called Mount Whoredom in Massachusetts, where John
of mountain, Jordan,
grew up. And
you know what I'm saying?
It was a mountain of prostitutes. Now, what is that?
Like a settlement.
So they're like tents and stuff. I'm picturing tents on a mountain.
They could be tents.
Welcome to Boston's History in a Minute. I'm Brooke, and today I'm in Beacon Hill on Mount Vernon Street. While being one of the most prestigious streets in Boston today, Mount Vernon had a very different reputation in the 18th century. Both Bostonians and visiting British soldiers referred to this area as Mount Whoredom. The name was apt because prostitutes were known to peddle their services on the west side of Beacon Hill. Around this time, the street was named Mount Vernon after George Washington's residence and became a fashionable place to live for the genteel of Boston, including Harrison Gray Otis and Robert Frost. From dodgy Mount Whoredom to ritzy Mount Vernon, this street has come a long way.
This might be a huge deal. I want to thank Mark for this email. Mark spelled M-A-R-C. I want to thank him because this is the kind of stuff that is mind-blowing to me, to find these obscure things that could have inspired them.
And now I'm off to find Mount Whoredom.
Yeah, there he goes. There Dave goes.
Those are my little feet.
Yep.